Is now co-founder and CEO of the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation, Nicole Hockley. She lost her 6-year-old son, Dylan, in the Sandy Hook shooting. Also joining us, professor of English at Fairfield University, Carol Ann Davis. She's the author of The Nail in the Tree, Essays on Art, Violence, and Childhood, about her experience raising 2 sons in Newtown, Connecticut, on the day of and in the aftermath of that massacre. Thank you both so much for being with us. Nicole, so many of us thought immediately the other day about you and Dylan and the other Sandy Hook families. We hoped this would never happen again, and yet here we are. First of all, how are you doing? How are the families that you have this tragic community with? How are the people in Newtown holding up right now?
I don't know about the town of Newtown because I've been very, very focused just on my family and my support network in the last few days. Since Tuesday, I went into absolute shock and numbness on Tuesday. I was an absolute emotional roller coaster. And then yesterday, my first thought when I woke up was that there are other families waking up today who don't even understand that the living nightmare that they're now going into. So I've just been very focused on my work since then and trying to help them where I can.
I want to read a bit of your piece in USA Today, Nicole. It's titled, "My son never came home from Sandy Hook. My heart bleeds for Texas as I relive Dylan's murder." Nicole writes this, quote, "My son Dylan, my beautiful butterfly, was ripped away from me in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting nearly 10 years ago. That day, I sent him to school, and he never came home. My heart bleeds for the parents whose children are not coming home and for the families of the adults who also won't be coming home. I am overwhelmed with compassion for the Robb Elementary School community that will never be the same because of the void left by 19 innocent children and 2 adults. Whenever there is a tragedy like this, I am re-traumatized. I relive the murder of my son, his classmates, and educators. The sadness and anger are crushing. With each new tragedy, I feel compelled to help, to offer comfort. As I write these words, I am prepared to travel to Uvalde, Texas, to see if I can be of any use to Robb Elementary School families and to the Uvalde community. I will try to talk them through the unimaginable darkness of this moment and let them know that while it will cast shadows over the rest of their lives, even in the shadows, there can be hope." And Nicole, there will be a time for hope. It's obviously not yet for those families. What can you say to them, given your experience over the last decade?
What I would say to them is to just look for those that are around you that love you and support you and want to be there for you, and keep them close, because you need those loving members of your family or friends more than you'll realize, and allow them to help you, but yet also respect that everyone's journey through this is going to be very unique. So whatever choice you make, there is nothing wrong, there is nothing right. Whatever you do is the right thing for you. And each step you take forward, it's going to be incredibly hard, incredibly painful. That won't go away, but you will find a way forward. It takes time, and you have to give yourself the grace to find it in your own time and space.
Carol Ann, I want to read from your piece, but before we do that, you know, Mika said something yesterday that I think all of us at this table can agree with. When you're in the business of news, Mika would talk about when she was a reporter in Connecticut, covering the most horrific stories. The drowning of little kids, the killing of little kids, rape, just the most brutal murders, and you had to report it, and you had to go home. She covered 9/11, reported it.
Right.
She went home, and she said her resistance, I know my resistance, I know Willie, everybody's resistance, something broke with Sandy Hook.
Right.
That is, all the horrors that we reported every day, it profoundly changed all of us. And we thought it would make a difference, that it would profoundly change others. What I am struck by here are the tragic parallels between Sandy Hook and what happened in Texas a couple of days ago. You had a kid with AR-15, shot a family member, went to school, got inside the school, and if I remember correctly, at Sandy Hook, they tried desperately to keep him out of the school. He got in the school, and the thing that kept even me, as a father of young kids, detached personally from this tragedy, but kept me awake at nights. It happened again.
Right.
10 years later. It keeps happening again. It happened in Parkland. And again, I'd say that nothing's changed, but it's getting worse. More guns on the street, more weapons of war on the street, more killings of our children.
And what appears to be an acceptance.
A kind of numbness, I think, has set in. I remember on Tuesday seeing Nicole, and she's worked every single day of the 10 years to make a better world, to answer what our children demand of us. And it's difficult and it's brave to feel it. To feel it on Tuesday the way Nicole was feeling it is harder than to numb yourself. And so I just want to point out that part of being an American right now is being emotionally awake to what our children are asking. And I don't think our children are asking for better tools inside the schools. They're asking for us to make childhood again. So we've lost a lot in our effort to try to secure buildings. But we've also lost some of the spectrum of our emotional lives when we don't feel this pain.
And just let it go. And this is what Caroline wrote in The Atlantic. 10 years after Sandy Hook, here we are again. The Under-17 Spring Soccer League in Newtown has been training hard. Before news of the shooting reached us in late afternoon sunshine, they were lacing up their cleats, taking another lap or last stretch. Imagine these kids, my son and his teammates, then pan out to the jazz band Noodlers, ceramics at their wheel, gamers, Discord, getting one more level in, kids headed to the pond to drop in a line. All the freedom of being young, all the beauty of small town America, but that beauty, like that, every Newtown child knows, is all too easily shattered. And that's the second thing crushing me on behalf of the people of Uvalde. I wish I could tell them that they will be the last mourners, the last ones to suffer. But they won't, will they?
Well, you know, I wrote those lines and then I went to the grocery store and I saw a friend of mine who's very good friends with a family, one of the moms, and we both asked how she was doing. Neither of us had reached out yet. And then she turned to me and she said, I wish I could tell the people of Uvalde they were the last ones, but they're not. And I had just written this piece, and I realized that's what everyone in Newtown was thinking, just the wish that Uvalde would be the last one, that this would be the last place that Nicole would have to go.
Yeah, Nicole, Mike Barnicle's here and has a question.
Nicole, sadly, you're a victim as well as your son Dylan was a victim. And you live with the pain every day. And it's eternal and it's deep. My question to you is a simple one. If you could today get the federal government to do one thing to help stop these slaughters of not only children, but of adults, as in Buffalo, just one thing, what would that one thing be?
Can I have 3 more wishes, please? It's impossible to think of one thing, but I guess if I had to focus it in, it would be, get your act together. This is unacceptable that you can't, all the deflection and the spin, you are being disrespectful to all of the citizens of America, every constituent, every child who continues to die on your watch. You need to find a way to have a discussion and get something through on a vote. There are so many solutions available. Not any one of them will change the issue of gun violence in our country. It's a multifaceted problem, but at the least you need to have the discussion and lean in and not just immediately spin and deflect and hide behind lies, because you are just exacerbating the problem. You're continuing the problem, and that is beyond shameful. So that would be my message to them, is just stop lying and focus on the lives that you are effectively killing every single day.
Stop lying. Nicole Hockley and Carol Ann Davis, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.